Hi, welcome to my blog. My name is Tom Shue, and today we're going to try to work with this image and fix the sky. A lot of times people take exposures and the sky is a little bit blown out and you want to fix it. Well, it's not so easy uh, to just do it on one image, because when I make an adjustment on the sky, this gets dark. And when I make an adjustment on the car, now the sky gets affected. So if I want to brighten this car up to see details, say in the wheel well, the sky is going to get brighter. If I try to, darken the sky down, the truck gets dark. So let's look at this. What I suggest you do is you make the second copy of the image, and then you can darken the sky on the second copy and bring them both into Photoshop. So what we'll do is we'll start right off and we'll just create a virtual copy. So now we'll have two of these trucks to work with. Okay. Let's see if I can slide that over. Yeah, we can. Okay, so now they're side by side. What I'll do is I'll just go in the develop module on the one we created. You're going to hit the D key, and I'm just going to start to bring this stuff down. So let's look at these shadows and highlights. So we're going to set our white point. I'm going to bring this over to the clouds not clipping anymore, and I'm going to set a black point. So I'm not so worried about the truck. I'm worried about any black area in these mountains, because this is kind of what we're going to try to save, is this skyline and these mountain tips of the mountain here. So as long as we're okay in the background there. Alright. Now maybe I'll bump the clarity up a little bit. And you can see there's quite a bit of difference between the two. Alright. So maybe I'll jump the vibrance up a little bit. And I'll kick the saturation a little bit. Not too much. Maybe, I'll tell you what, we'll reset the saturation there. And I just want those clouds to be a little oranger. So we'll go down to HSL. Okay, and under saturation we'll click on this guy right here. And we'll just come over here and we'll click and drag up a little bit. And we'll get our clouds to be a little orange. Just zoom in a little bit here. Okay. So grab this guy here, and that's a little too much orange. Maybe I can click out a little bit. So let's grab and see if we can make a little bit more blue going on. So we'll grab our blues and we'll bring them up. Okay, also we can grab this luminance. If I want to darken the sky in this area over here, I can. So under luminance, I grab this guy right here, and when I drag up and down, it will change the values of how bright it is or dark it is in an area. Okay, well that's not really, it's too banded, which means that there's too many distinct areas. If I had just a solid blue sky, I could just control the brightness of the sky with this luminance slider. Okay, so I'll back out of that, Control Z. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll grab our graduated filter and we'll just drag this on there. I'll pull this down a little bit to in this area, and we'll say maybe bring this exposure down a little bit, not too much. Maybe we'll increase the contrast some. And I don't want to create this weird looking unnatural sky. Kick the clarity a little bit. And we can change the tint too, the temperature. So if I want it to be more blue, I can make it more blue by adjusting the temperature. Okay? And then I can tint it as well. If I want it to be a little more pink, I can go pink. If I can make it more green. But I'm going to set that somewhere in this area. Okay, so that sky is looking pretty good to me. So we'll close that down. Now that I've got the sky the way I want to send both of these images into Photoshop. So I'll pause the video so you don't have to wait for it to load. But to get them there, I'm going to right click, edit in Photoshop by clicking here. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop. I've got both of the images. Okay, and we want to create one image. So the sky's looking pretty good in the second image, and the truck's looking pretty good in the other image. So we'll decide maybe we'll just use this as the main document. So here's their layers. So we'll go over to this other document, we'll grab our marquee selection tool, and we'll just hit Control A or Command A, and that's all. And we're going to select all, and we're going to copy it. So you can either go Edit Copy, or Control C or Command C for copy. And then we come over here, we're going to hit Control V or Command V, or Edit and Paste. Okay, so now we've got both of them on the same layer. There's the light sky, and then there's the correct sky that we want to add to the image. So if you shot two images, you would need to align the images, and maybe I'll show you that some other time, but aligning images is pretty easy. Just do Edit Align. Okay, so we want to grab this sky and we want to put it on above, so we need to close this one out, and we need to grab our marquee selection tool, and we're just going to select that sky. So we probably select somewhere right up here around the horizon line. You can see there's a pretty distinct line right there. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and select that. That'd be a good transition point. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing. Edit, Copy, or Control C, Command C, and then we're going to go up here, we'll create a new layer, bring that layer right on top, and we're going to do Edit, Paste, or Control V, Paste. So we'll hide this bottom layer, and now you can see that we've got, on one layer we've got just the sky, and underneath of that layer we have just the truck. Okay, and we've got our safety net down here, the untouched dark one. Alright, so now we just have to manipulate this top layer to make it blend properly. This is where our layer masks will work very well. Okay, so if we just click on the layer mask icon, we can use a paintbrush to hide it. So since it's white, we need to paint in black. So we'll flip it, we'll grab our brushes, and we can just come in here and erase this away. This is how easy it is. Now if you're going to be doing some serious inspection like pixel peeping, you might want to get up in there and do a really good job at this, but for a tutorial I'm just going to do it really quick so you get an idea of what's happening. So I might zoom in a little bit here just to check out what's going on top of this truck. So you want to have a pretty hard brush when you're working at an edge like this. So we'll just clean this up real quick where we want it. One of the tricks you can do is you can click and then shift click. Like if you hold the shift key and then come over and click again, it'll just give you a straight line across. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And I'm going to feather that brush a little bit. So I hit the X key and then clean up this roof line just a little bit. And you can make a selection if you like. And I've shown you how to do that before, where you refine the edge. That looks pretty good there. And our horizon line looks pretty good. We've got a little bit of a line right here. So I'll make this brush a little smaller and I'll get rid of that distinctive line. Okay. So, looks like this picture was taken that way. So let's back off a little bit. So if this is what we had before, and this is after. Now what we probably want to do is just put a vignette so it looks kind of real. So we'll make a selection here. And we'll do refine edge. And I'll feather it. Kind of round like that. Shift the edges out a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. Click OK. Now I need to invert the selection. That's Control Shift I or Command Shift I on a Mac. And we'll just grab a curves tool. We need to be on the top layer when we do this. Curves. And we'll just select down and kind of burn this edges in to make it look like it's nothing's been done. Maybe not so much in the middle of the image, but just the darker. So I can add a lot in there if I like, and then we could just use the opacity to pull it away. So there's the opacity. There's it away, and then I add in my vignette as much as I want. So there you have it, blending an underexposed and an overexposed image by creating two images in Lightroom, bringing them into Photoshop, and using a layer mask to hide the image. So it's kind of like not really an HDR image, but it's kind of likened to the HDR. Instead of using the entire frame, we're just using pieces of the images that we need to fix our images the way we want them to look. So I hope you learned something today. And if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the blog section, in the comment section below. And until next time, we'll see you soon.